Hey everybody. I take it you can hear me. As always, right before I've been doing Facebook Lives for over 2 years, and right before I go on, something happens. Always. But no more. That was the last time. I see Jamie on. I see Mark Robinson on. Finch Janella. All right, so I know you guys can hear me. That's good. I have so many funny stories about the last 2 weeks and technical issues, but I won't go into those here. I'm going to play a little bit, and then I'll answer some questions. And tell you how I set up my stuff, if you want. All right, you guys got to bear with me because I got to stop looking at the screen because you guys are like a minute behind me. Almost, it feels like it. There's like such a delay between when I do it and when it goes out. Like right now, I'm watching the song still. Anyway, I tried to show you a little bit of what I just did, how I set things up, and forgot my water. So I'm using the Fractal Audio FM3. There we go. And in a minute later on, I'm going to switch over to on the other side of the studio my Axe FX3. So I'm using it. It's 3 buttons, but I'm using it as. Why don't I just do this? So I'm using it as scene. Once I get to the preset, once I select on a preset, it automatically goes to the scenes. And I'm drawing a blank on what that's called, but somebody's going to answer it. Tim, are you out there? You showed me how to do it. So, Tim Noonan. What's it called? I forgot what it's called. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? It's great. I'm prepared. I'm very prepared. Anyway, once it goes to this, once I hit the preset I want, I'm on the scenes. I'm on scene 1 and 3. 1 and 5. Well, excuse me, 1 and 4. Let me slow down. 2 and 5. 3 and 6. If I want to get to scene 7 and 8, I change the views, and I'm at scene 7 and 8 and the tuner mode. And then if I go the other way to the view, I forget what's there, but besides the tap tempos there. My songs, all the tempos are programmed to the tempo of the song, so I don't have to tap tempo. When I go out and play sideman gigs, then I move that tempo button. All right, so let's see. All right, so I started the song on scene 4. Let me make sure you guys can see what's going on, hear what's going on. Carl, no, they're not per preset. It's always the same. I know what you mean by per preset, but it's switches, but they're not. All right, so that's the intro scene. Then I step on that same button again, and it's going to switch to scene 1. It's on scene 4 now. So there's where I start. So then I switch to scene 2, but before I do that, I have to turn this expression. If you notice, I use one expression pedal. Sometimes it's a volume pedal, sometimes it's a wah pedal, sometimes it's a whammy. In this case, it's a fuzz. So right now it's not on doing anything. But before I get off this, before I go into the melody, I turn this off, down, and I switch to this. It's the same sound, except when I bring the expression pedal up, the fuzz is on, different variations of the fuzz. Again, without it. With it. So I think today's thing is going to be about just thinking outside the box, not normally just stepping on a fuzz, because also, and not having a scene for it. If I wanted to, if I had more scenes, I could just dedicate a scene to with the fuzz on and off. But I want to come back to this. Same amp, same sound. But when the melody happens, no fuzz, fuzz. No fuzz. If I don't hit it with my hand. Anyway, and then right behind that scene is scene 5, and that's when I go to different delay. Then I can go back to the melody scene. Back to the fuzz, and I switch over to the lead, and that's just takes the fuzz out and changes it to the fast boost. The amp I'm using is the Plexi, the 1987 X Plexi. So I have one over there that I love. So and this sounds exactly like it. Except that would be much louder. And then it's a wah. It's a regular wah. Anyway. So in that song, I use 6 scenes. No, I use 5 scenes. So 3 buttons let me get the 5 scenes. But that's planning ahead, way planning ahead. I just want to make sure that we're still on and still streaming. I'm going to play another song. This is called Sister. I should have done this in a different order. It's going to do almost the same thing. I'm going to do this in a different order. I'm not going to do Sister. I'm going to do Cosmic Tears. For those who are wondering about the Eventide pedal, I'm using that. If you see it says plot. It's a plate reverb. I tried to keep my patches on the FM3 for me down about 78%, no higher. Just in case, like right now, they're still doing firmware updates and stuff like that. And occasionally I get a update. I'm also a beta tester. I get an update, and the CPU jumps for a second, and then they'll fix it later on. But I don't want that to cripple my preset, so I keep them down to 78%. So I use most of the reverb, unless it's an elaborate reverb like this. There's a plate on there, but there's also a swirling plex verb. So what I do is I use the Eventide for reverb in this situation. For just the plate reverb or a spring, sometimes a room, it's capable of doing a whole lot more. But I've been using the Eventide H9 for a long time, and I think it's good comparing with it. You can do the MIDI block. You can say per scene, you can change what the H9 does. So that's a very cool thing that Fractal does with just per scene. You can just send a MIDI patch command or even CC if you want. So I'm going to switch the song and do Cosmic Tears, only because this song is a lot like the song I just did. So I go middle button, and then presets, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to go forward a preset, 3 presets right there. So this is reverse delay. It's supposed to be reverse delay. My mistake. All right. So here's a good opportunity to point out a mistake that I've made several times. In messing with the preset, somehow I changed the amp on one scene. And I might have been adjusting the amp. And so on the rotary, it's supposed to still be on the same amp. Should be the amp that this is on. But without the overdrive pedal. But I messed up. So that'd be a warning. Don't do that. All right. You know what? Since there's such a delay, if you guys have any questions, like real questions about what I'm doing or something like that, do me a favor. Put like is it the asterisk sign? Like do like 3 dots or something, and then the question, and then actually just put dots, question, the word question, and dots, and then type your question. So when I scroll back, I can see if that's a question. All right. And if anybody's trying to text me questions, if anybody's trying to text me questions, I'm using every device in my studio to do this. So I cannot receive any text right now. In fact, I have to make sure the notification's off because I went live the other day and one of the notifications just killed the live stream, and I didn't think that was possible. Usually interrupts, but Fractal Audio says, question, is the right format? Yes. Just put question next to it. So I can, in capitals, that would work great. So, William, what FR am I using? I'm using in-ears right now. I'm not using any, there's no sound in my studio. It is dead. Well, there's some fans going on, but otherwise, it's kind of dead quiet in the studio. Live, most of my gigs have been fly gigs the last couple of years, so I've been using the PA system and the monitor system. I do have a set of I'll show you when I take a little break from this station to go to the other station. I have 212 DV Mark. I have DV Mark T212 with neodymium speakers in it. That works really well. I have they're not powered. I have a little power amp that this gentleman made for me up in Portland. That's this big, and it's 260-watt power amps per side, the stereo power amp. So I can travel with that and use backline if I want. I only use speakers on stage to hear myself and to get a little extra feedback if I want, if I'm playing with a loud band. I also have two Tech 21 power engines that are 60 watts, I believe, a piece. They're small 112s. And then I have a couple of small PAs. I have an Electro Voice Evolve 50 that's in the corner here. But I take that out when I need a PA system for more stuff than just my guitar. But most of my gigs are fly gigs. And I do have another set of those DV Mark 212 speakers up in Seattle that I use because I play it when I go up there. I usually have a band that I play with a lot. So Jeff Eason and Charlie Lorme. All right, so that might have been too much on that question. But normally I listen to in-ears or the speakers that are the monitors that the PA provides. Tim Mann, I am not. I use the delay in parallel, so the mix is at 100%, and then on leads, most of the time, the input gain is at 28 to 35, depending. And when it's on like something elaborate, like a Edge style, Steve Stevens style delay thing, then it's on 100%. So the delay mix level state is always up because it's running in parallel with the dry signal. Uh, Nikki says, "Do I ever mess with the room and the air in the cab block?" I do not. Most of my stuff is pretty simple, pretty straight setup. I've been with Fractal since 2008, I believe. Um, and I've tried elaborate things. It's the company's grown over time, and I've grown, and my stuff is pretty simple. I usually, other than I've been using the same cabinet since then, since a little bit after that, cabinet sim, um, that I've pretty much grown with Fractal and tried different things, and I can pretty much walk in and to anybody's Fractal and dial up my sound. I don't need elaborate stuff. I don't need to do a whole lot of tweaking. I missed the name, but what cabinet IR am I using? It's one that oh, I forgot. It's a 412 Celestian. Might be greenbacks. I'm really bad at that. It sounded good. That was it. Um, I don't know, but I will be doing. I have a 212 cabinet. I'll show you this when I can move the cameras. I have a 212 here in the studio that I love. A Marshall 212. Again, I don't know what's in it, but it sounds great with every head that I plug into it. I'm going to do an IR of that, and hopefully that is going to be my new cab or go along with this cab. Sorry, I have to get up close. The presets are not interchangeable between the 2 and the 3 unless you use the Fractal, I think. And but they are compatible between the 3 and the Axe FX3 and the FM3. I think right now you can drag your patches from the Axe FX3 over to the FM3. I'm not sure if we're at the point where we can go backwards yet, or if that's even the goal. Might be, but someone from Fractal might be able to answer that. I'm not sure. Jamie, I tried to explain that on the first song. If you saw that where I lined it up so that, um, here I'm gonna do the next song and I'll explain that. If I missed your question, please type it again because it's hard to go back and see. And also, like I said, there's a big delay. All right, so I'm on this song. This is called Sister. I'm gonna do this. Scene one. It's got a little air on it, a little swirl. I use the same amps for every song in my set. I change it. I do different amps when I'm recording or playing with different singer-songwriters. But this is the double reverb, the Keith Urban Tweed, the 1907 X Plexi, and then the USA Clean, I think it is, or the Mark II C Plus Clean. So that's scene one, sorry. The next scene I need is scene 4, which is right behind it. So I have the scene set up to toggle. See, 1 and 4, 2 and 5, 3 and 6. So I'll do this. Then it's going to go to the melody, which has a bit of fuzz on it. And I can control where the fuzz or how much fuzz there is, but with the expression pillar in. It's a different fuzz than the fuzz in the first song. The fuzz in the first song was an octave fuzz. And then when I'm ready to go back, I just hit the... Then when I get ready to go to solo, I'm on a solo. That's scene 3. Scene 6 should be the same sound with a fuzz, though. Oh, I can hear there's a tremolo on there. It's not supposed to be on there. Again, mistake. Anyway, so that's how I do it. That song has 6 scenes that I use. Or maybe 5. I'm going to play it. The IRs, I only use one IR. I've been using the same IR cabinet response, impulse response since like 2007 or 2008 or 9. And it's a 412. It's out there because I've put up a couple of presets, but we'll talk later. Anyway, this is Sister. Oh. That is not Sister. The band is just messing with me. Hold on. This is Sister, I think. Okay, so I gave out bad information. The melody is not controlling the amount of fuzz. What it's doing is there's a wah. It's controlling the wah before the fuzz or after fuzz. I think it's before the fuzz. So you get different frequencies. Maybe it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. It's supposed to be doing the controlling the fuzz and the wah. That's like mistake number 3 I've done. Yeah, you have to check these things, right? I don't have an editor hooked up. So if I go back to reflections, so I'm bringing in the fuzz. And when I do the wah, it does kind of the same thing, except that the fuzz is always there. It just changes it makes the frequencies pop out a little differently. Oop. Did the same thing. Here we go. There it is. Fun stuff. So all the effects in the Axe FX3 and the FM3 have different channels. So I have one wah where the wah is a wah on, say, you can have things like the wah is active to the pedal on channel A, and if I might have a volume pedal that I only want to be active on volume on B, and I might have an expression pedal that needs to be active on C. So if I'm working on the expression pedal, on the whammy pedal, pitch pedal, then I make sure the wah is on anything but A, and I make sure the volume pedal is on anything but B, and then the expression pedal will only affect the pitch, and vice versa. All right, let me get back to the questions before I get distracted. All right. I see one question. When I go to powered cabinets or FRF, I do leave the cabinet sim on. I don't change anything about it. Again, everything is geared towards the front of the house. That's the most important thing to me. What I hear on stage, I've done blues festivals where the bands kind of goes from soft to loud on stage, and there's more vocals and keys, and I can't have 2 monitors. So I'll ask for 2 of the backline amps, and usually they're like Fender, Hot Rod DeVille's, something like that. I'll plug into the effects return of those, and just use those on stage. No one can hear those the way I have them set up past like the first 5, 6 rows tops. Um, but most everybody's hearing what's coming out of the PA. So those will be really bizarre sounding. They could be bizarre sounding. Not bad. If I don't get the sound I like, then I plug into the input and turn the treble almost all the way off on the amps. Um, Tin Man. Yes, I picked my amp models because, like I said, I have some of the real amps here in the studio, the physical amps, and I have experience with them. I've had it's too long to explain, but I had a bad experience. I had an experience with an amp that I hated inside the Fractal. I was like, I never used this amp, and I was in Germany, and I had to do a video shoot, and that was the amp that the real amp was the amp that they had me use, and I was like, oh God, and so they used it. I used it. They had it sounding okay, and then I went back in the jam with the owner of the studio's son, who was like 10 years old, I guess, and I still only had that amp in. I said, "There's got to be a better sound." So I went through 4 channels, and channel 4 was amazing. And I was like, "Oh!" And I looked at the settings. I never would have tried those settings. I went back to my hotel room, plugged in my in ears, dialed up a cabinet, dialed up that amp. I took a photo of the settings, copied the settings. I was like, "Oh, that's how you use this amp." I had no idea how to use that amp. So I always tell people if you're getting into modeling first, especially with the Fractal, go for the amps. When you first experiment, go for the stuff that you know what it's supposed to sound like live. I mean, for real, not what you think it's supposed to sound like. I've had conversations with many people who said, "Oh, this plexi doesn't sound like a plexi," and I go, "Well, which plexi? Because I have a plexi here that doesn't sound like a couple of my other friends' plexis. Which plexi you have?" I go, "I don't have a plexi." It's like, "Well, which plexi are you used to playing through?" I've never played through a real plexi before. Well, then you don't know what it sounds like necessarily. You might be going by it on a record, and I can tell you from making records, there's a lot of stuff done to guitar sounds in making a record. It's going to go through several levels of compression, from tape compression to real compression to mix bus compression to mastering, master channel, master fader compression to compression, mastering the record to EQ to make it not get in the way of other instruments. So yeah, there's a certain thing, but you know. All right, I've lost track. Uh, Paul Alvarez, what's the purpose of the H9? I'm using it for reverb right now. I've always had an H9. I like the H9. The H9 was part of my backup rig that I travel with because my gigs are fly gigs. So I always make sure I get on the plane with one rig and then I can travel with another rig that I check. And but then I was in a hotel going, yeah, H9 is way too cool to just use as a backup just in case. And the Fractal never really doesn't happen, but it's more like in case I get separated from my gear, which can happen easily. So I started incorporating it, and then sometimes it's just reverb, spring, or a plate. The reverb in the Fractal in the FM3 uses probably 20 to between 20 and 30% of the CPU, maybe I want to say. I could be wrong. Some Fractal can chime in there. So I don't like to get my presets past 78% of CPU. So if I can offlet something like the reverb, and then I can have other stuff staged to go on and off. Um, I I don't absolutely need it, especially for some songs. It's not on, but I have the capability. There's some presets where I do these big, huge intros, and it's on. It's gone like another reverb on there, and the Fractal might have a reverb on as well, like big kind of things. There's one preset I use, one song where I have it go from a long delay that adds to the other delay. So there's 4 delays in there. There's the multi delay, delay one, plex delay, and then a delay coming from the each H9, and then it quickly switches to I think a chorus. All right, I'm going to play another song. Let's see. So here's a subtle thing. I like to do some subtle things. I know you're like, "Hey, you guys you just used a ray gun." So there's an octave high on one side, and then the guitar is swimming from left to right. Could be annoying to some people. I used to use this. I used to do stuff like this back in. I don't know if I did it on the Squire tour. I definitely did it on Miguel Bosé, which was 1988, and I did it again on Tracy Chapman tour, which was subtle. To do subtle things. And in a big venue, you would think it would be annoying, but it's actually kind of cool. In a huge venue that it goes, the guitar just moves. And then it's going to go to, so it's moving still. The octave is off. The octave is only on one side anyway. To this. Subtle difference in the chorus. Could stay on one scene. To lead. All right, so. I just realized how late it is. I've gone way over 15 minutes, huh? Steven, don't kill me. Um, you guys are talking about CPU. I just don't personally like my CPU to go above 78%. I have definitely presets like where the reverb, everything is inside the box. So I don't have to go out to do anything else. But on my songs, I have a lot of stuff going on, and I just like to keep my presets at 78%. You don't have to have another device. You don't. I mean, you can definitely use it all in one box. For me, I'm not specifically trying to limit everything into one box. And sometimes when I can travel, I travel with another pedal board of overdrives, not because the overdrives in the Fractal are bad, as you can hear. That's what I'm using. But I just like to step on pedals every now and then. And so then I have to go in and quickly and turn off the overdrives or have access to turn off the overdrives in the Fractal. And then step on these other boxes just for fun. And you get some different tones. But you can do everything within the box. You can definitely. I have some presets that are very. They push the CPU to the limit, and they have a ton of stuff in them, from wah compression, overdrive, amp, cab, chorus, tremolo, reverb, and delay. Um, but to do all that, like once I put a Plex delay in or Plex reverb, I'm taking up a lot of CPU, and that's in a lot of my presets. So. Let's see. So I was going to cover one more thing, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get to the XFX3. Maybe we can do that next time, unless there's no limit. So I'll wait for someone from Fractal to tell me their limit, but I'll do one thing because I wanted to cover the virtual capo. Um, I forgot to move a preset. All right. Question: Do I? Thank you. Do I feel I need the FC6? I'm not using an FC6 with it right now. I do have an FC6. It's hooked up to my XFX3 right now. I have not hooked it up because I'm not sure how I'm going to travel. When things get back to normal, I do mostly fly gigs, so I might travel with the FC6 and use it. I might not. I might call you up and go, hey, I'm in town. Can I borrow your FC6? I've done that. I've traveled last year. I went to Korea and didn't take an AX8 at all. And I was an Axe FX Fractal AX8 owner in Korea was very kind and lent me his. Same thing in Russia years ago, about 5-6 years ago. I went to Russia without the Axe FX3 or Axe FX2, and a Fractal user in Russia brought over his Axe FX2 and MC 101. Yeah, oh, the numbers. So it was a great community for that. But I'm not sure how I'm going to travel. So I want to make sure I can do everything with just the box first, and that's when I set up. And also, I have a tip. I mimicked, I narrowed the use of the FC6 when it's on its own with the Axe FX3. It's mimicking the functions that I have set up on the FM3, so that when I could go from this to the Axe FX3 and not have to think where are the buttons and what's doing what. So I try and keep the units, if they're separate, to be the same. So even though the FC6 has more buttons, it's mimicking what I do with the FM3, so that I don't get there and go, where is scene what? So it has to become secondary nature, so that I hit a button and know that what's coming up is coming up. So whether I'm using the Axe FX3 or the FM3. Brian Hinton, What are you wondering? I can't see the question. Brian, I can't see which question you were talking about. Hey, Bert Elliott. Someone asked, what is my preferred Y model? The color tone and the Clyde. And then for clean, funky stuff, it goes into the Crybaby. Yeah, the color tone and the Clyde. I go back and forth between those. All right, so I have this is April is the 30th anniversary. Well, April was the 30th anniversary of my first record, which came out 30 years ago, 1990. And on it, I'm on the cover with a double neck guitar, and the double neck actually has a D neck that belonged to Steve Vai. It's 2 frets extra. This is before Steve got into the 7-string. He has the other 2 necks. I hope he doesn't need this one back. Has 2 frets extra, so the whole guitar is tuned a whole step down, but other than the 2 frets, everything else is in the same spot. But in order to do that live, I got a little battery warning on. This might be short. I wanted to do that live, and I was thinking, do I get a body and put that neck on? Because I can't be dealing with traveling with the double neck or lifting the double neck anymore. So I could get a regular body and put the neck, the 6-string neck on that and play it, the song. But then I checked out the virtual capo, and that's what I'm using right here. Is without the capo. With the capo. So I can do this song. Now it's tricky because I have to play up until the first lead thing. I'm playing with the guitar tuned down a whole step. And then for the solo, the guitar is back to normal pitch. And then right after the solo, it's gone back to down a whole step. So I'm going to do this. This might be my last song because cameras might be dying. But and then it'll be my last song, but I'm going to go over to the Axe FX3 and check out questions and stuff like that. So this isn't God We Trust. This is the first song from my first record from 1990. Another question. Lewis, the delay model. I use the dual delay most of the time. I have a couple presets where it's the deluxe mine, but that gets a little funky when I'm changing scenes, and not that it's funky. It's just that it gets weird when I go from that delay to another delay. It just throws me off. That's all. Deluxe mine's really cool. If I'm doing something where I'm just gonna stay into that, I'll use the deluxe mine. Deluxe mine. Brian, yes, I find it it's fine for me so far going from the AX8 to the FM3. I had to come up with a system. It took a minute to get my head around it. I had to come up with a system for doing that. And you'll see in this song, it starts with a lot of delay, tune the whole step down, to less delay, still a whole step down, to no delay, to back to delay, to this lead, which has different drive on it and different pitch. To back. All right. right, I lost half my in-ears for a second there. Um, all right, it's time to. I know that the people of Fractal are like, all right, dude, come on. So I'm gonna put my stuff away. I will, I will stay on for a little while longer, or I will switch to my page if they want and answer questions. I won't do any more playing. I'll just answer questions. But hey, so I'm gonna put this away. All right, so my main guitar is there. Put this away. Oh, do that for a second. Check 1, 2. Oop, might be a little loud. All right. Can you guys still hear me? I don't need that microphone. It's going to sound a little different. Okay, so there's the guitar I just played. That's the Plexi, and that's the 212 cabinet that I have. I have no idea what's in it, but it sounds really cool. I like it. I'm going to do an IR of that. Or more likely, someone who's more capable than I to make sure that I don't technically mess it up. I'm just going to do an IR of that. My favorite guitar is that guitar, but I think I broke the volume pot recently, so I got to find someone that will operate on it during a pandemic. That's my secondary choice. This is the chocolate room. There's my vocal booth. There's the Townsend Labs microphone that I really love, and a Bronner VMA. Another cool Nags guitar. And then we're going to get over here to the Axe FX3. I need a guitar still. And a cable. Let's turn this down just a little bit. Okay. Okay, you guys still with me? And I don't have a pick over here. Look at that. How could I not have a pick over here? Because I was probably cleaning. Because I didn't want you guys to know how messy it was. What are you going to pick? All right. Here's my Axe FX3. It's in my rack here. And then in this drawer, I have a couple pedals that still need to wire up the Eventide Rose, which it does wacky cool delay stuff. Has a bunch of knobs I can turn on. And I have been able to recreate some of this stuff in the Axe FX. But for creation-wise, it's good to have just some knobs for me that I can just turn and twist and stuff like that. And here's this rare thing from Robert Keeley. It's a kind of a fuzz a little bit. I forgot what it's called, but I love it. It's actually cool. I don't take it out on the road anymore. I just use it in the studio. Okay, here's the Axe FX3. If you guys have any questions, let's see if I can answer any more questions. So we still have people on? We got a few people on still. Oh, I saw something from Tim. Oh, Tim, you'll fix it. Do I ever use rock picks? Jenny, no, I'd use these Dava picks. I use these little Dava grip tips. They have neoprene on it. I had an issue, wow, it's 10 years ago, where my hands were shaking and we went through a bunch of tests and I couldn't hold on to picks. I couldn't hold on to a lot of stuff. These picks, and I had met Dave Story, who is in Albuquerque, and I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and he gave me some of his picks to try, and those were the only ones I could hold on to. Since I've gotten a lot better, which is another, just a side thing. Any day you can play is a great day, so count your blessings and just play. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, I use the Dava grip tips. I tried some other picks, but I still can't hold on to regular picks that easily anymore. You're asking me about the bass strings? I'm not sure. I mean, I like the sound of a woolly. I have a jazz bass over there, and it works really nicely. I don't do anything special. I just get the sound when I can, the way I use it. I get the sound the best I can. What's the difference between the Axe FX3 and the FM3? Sounds and effects wise, absolutely not. Some of the amps feel a little different, but that's probably perception. It's not my thing. Not for real, maybe. I'm plugged into the Axe FX3 now. Can you guys hear? I think you can hear. String gauge. I use 9s on the Strat scale and 10s on Gibson scale. Oh, I guess you can't see me, huh? Hold on. Can you see me? So this is the Axe FX3, same lead tone setup. Sounds the same to me. Except you hear the microphone now. Microphone someplace else. Sorry. All right, so there you go. That's it without hearing the string attack from the microphone. To me, they sound the same. Is your favorite amp model to use? Absolutely, for leads, for crunch and leads, is the 1987 X Plexi. Absolutely my favorite. You're an AX8 user. Do you feel that the 3 is worthwhile upgrade? That's something that only you can answer that. The 3 is great, absolutely great. I have an FX2 that's somewhere over here. The 2 XL, which is great. It's still, all of this stuff is really great. The only thing I would say is if you had a Ultra or Standard, which is still good, you might want to upgrade. But the Asphyx 2 is cool. The 3 is great. The FM3 is great, and it's getting, I mean, it's on firmware 1. And those of you who've been with Fractal for a while, you know, firmware 1 is cool. Firmware 2 is great. Firmware 3 is like, oh my. So I don't know what they have planned, but it can only get better from here. So that's great. Is the Apollo my main interface? Yes, the Apollo is my main interface. Except you can't see my head there. How's that? What am I mounting the FM3? It's right now it's just on a friend of mine here during the pandemic, and they couldn't work, started making these elaborate, nice cutting boards. So they made me a cutting board with rubber feet on it. So that's what it's on. Yeah, that's what it's on right now. I do have my FC6 on a nice road-worthy travel pedal board, which there's one that's being made for my, I forgot the name of the company, that's for my FM3 and Eventide-H9. And I'm torn as to whether I have the expression pedal on the board or off. There's something different about the height of it on a board than it off for me. So if I can figure out how to make it not move when I step on it weird, I might have the pedal board off. So this is a 15 by 11. The new board for the FM3 and the Eventide will be 16 by 10, and which is pretty close to the size of an AX8. So there's another Fractal EV2 on here, and this is the FC6 for the Axe FX3. Gotta have the hand sanitizer close and a mask just in case. All right, so if you can, I know, shaky cam. I think they probably want me to get off soon, but let me see if there's more questions real quick. I'm gonna explore the 1987 X Plexi now. Yeah, it's great. My settings, I have a 412, and it's a dark 412. In fact, I use cabinet, the closest internal cabinet that I use is factory cab. Let's see, I think it's 786, 781. Nope, that's not it. Picker. Nope, it must be factory number 1. It might be a Bluto? No. Austin Buddy knows if he's on here. Maybe it's a Legacy. 7. Oh, Legacies don't go up that high. Oh, I'll find it. I'll post it. But it's one of the 212 cabinets on here, and that's the closest one. And then my settings are for the nicer tone is the nicer tone is treble drive at 6, normal drive at 5 or 4, and bass at 2, mid at 5, treble at 7, and the output level is at -14. Presence stays the same. I do change the bright cap. The bright cap for me is at 125. Bright switch is on, bright cap is at 125. And we take everything off. Just reverb is on, here's the drive off. There's the amp by itself. Turn it up just a little bit. When I stick the fast boost in front of that and turn it on, is it really? Oh, turn it really off. There's bone dry. Buford, yeah, cool. Yeah, it's 6.5 or 4. Bass is at 12, at 2, as in number 2. Mids at 5, and these are all not exact numbers, not clocks. So, treble drive at 6, normal drive at 5, bass at 2, mid at 5, treble at 6, presence is and the high treble and presence are at factory defaults 5 and then 0 dB. The bright switch is on, bright cap's at 125. Mikey, Andreas, I'm about to sign off. I've been off for an hour and 35 minutes. And I know people at Fractal like, hey man, thank you, but get off our page. No, I don't know what they're saying. I can't see, and I can't get any text right now, so. All right, you guys seem to be enjoying it. Some of you are left. Cool, there's a lot of people on here. Closest own hammer, I have no idea. I don't know what the, I don't know the own hammer ones by heart. Louis. What's the easiest way to add bass? You can pick one of the bass amp models or the stock preamp model, and you'll get bass. There's EQ, graphic EQ and parametric EQ, and then direct controls. So you can use a basement if you want to go old school. There's a Fender basement in there. Well, I've definitely run my bass through some of the, along with a straight DI, I've run it through like the Plexi or some of the Fender amp models. Tim Noonan, you run bass through your Axe FX gear. What models do you use? Where's your bass presets? What are you doing? Which in-ears? I have a set of Ultimate ears, which I like, and I also have a set of ear racers, and right now I have the ear racers in. The ear racers are out of Florida, and they make, or actually, the in-ears might be under a different name. I think it's the in-ears, ear racers. I use their earplugs. Oop, I just lost it. Oh, maybe I'm still on, but I just, oh. I thought we lost it. I can't see. And then I have a set of Ultimate ears I got when I was playing in a project or about to do a project with Stuart Copeland. And they're more studio ready sounding monitors, in-ear monitors. Oh, Tim uses the SVT. Cool. Andreas, I don't know how long the wait list is. I don't have any kind of information about that. Mike, my biggest, I'm not sure, are we still on? My biggest guitar influences, there's a lot. I'm a big Steve Stevens fan. I'm a big huge Eric Johnson fan. I got into Van Halen for a while. I was into Andy Summers from the Police. Um, Andy Timmons is one of my favorite players in the world. Let me see if we're still on. Fractal audio. I can't find the page. Am I still on? Someone tell me if I'm still on. If you can hear me. Oh, there it is. Okay. I guess this computer, I got one camera that just died and the computer is, yep. So I guess you guys can see me. Yeah, Tim, the Ampeg model is definitely great for bass. I don't think that I'm on. Oh, there he goes. There he is. 107 people still. Cool. Very cool. All right. Hey, Eric. Mark Day. Wow. I'm pretty sure everyone here knows Mark Day. Oh, Stephanie. All right. Stephanie, you guys want me to get off? I've been off for like an hour and 40 minutes. Should I get off? Yeah, I use Superior Drummer for a lot of stuff in Tune Tracks as well. Yeah, it's great. I can do this way so I can look at you guys. All right. Well, I don't see any question. I mean, I don't see any. This doesn't work on this side over here. So. Just want to thank Fractal for this. Sure, I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Fractal. I definitely want to thank Matt and Cliff and everyone at Fractal Audio for letting me do this. Thank you, Stephen and Stephanie Bradley, for making sure I'm not messing up big time over here and help me get on. Jeff Grayson, wow, we're going back. Awesome. Mark Day for tuning in. I'm not sure who from Fractal is helping me answer questions, but thank you so much. I don't know if it's Matt or Stephanie or Steven or Mark or I don't know. Tim, thank you for stepping in to answer some questions. Ever collaborated online using apps like Jazz? Nope, I have not. Most of the time, the latency is too high. I know Jazzkazam. Yeah, there you go. Requires a strict computer and interface and stuff like that, but I have not tried to do that. Wayne Livingston, hey Wayne, I've been off for an hour 40 minutes. I'm about to sign off. But thanks for coming by, Wayne. Let's see. I don't know. Let me see, get back to. I was going to get into that. I actually use that sound for one of my songs, but it's the panner, pan tremolo, and it's set pretty fast, and I switch back and forth. Anyway, thank you guys so much. Main legato or alternate picking. You got to use it all. It's just like speaking. You can't just use one thing. I use, if I want to make a statement, that's all picking. If I want it to sound a little different, so there's more, or same lick, different statement. Three different ways to play the same thing. Uh-oh, there's German going on here, and my German's horrible. Oh, I can't. Yeah, I can't read that. That computer just died. So I'm down to one camera and one computer that's plugged in. I guess I've been on for a long time. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna mute this. No, I can't do that. Let me do this. Oh, there you go. Oh, see translation. Look at that. Will show me the translation, please. Oh, it's not translating it. Rick Allen just add coins for more time. Cool. Andreas, I can't. My German is horrible. I go to Germany, like, I've been going to Germany every year, but in my German, I make up German words. I make up words that I think are German, and they're not. How do I dial in delays? You know, Jeff, send me a message on my page, because I'm going to get off soon. And I will show you how I, Mikey, give me my best German. No, you don't want to hear my best German. You've heard some of my German, Mikey. Do you have a Facebook page? Replace that again. Yes, I have a Facebook page. It's just my name, Larry Mitchell. I go live on there every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually just play and talk a little bit, but you know, that's what I do. Larry Mitchell. Just go on my page. I have a band page and a personal page. I usually go on from the personal page, and it gets copied over to the band page, which I did not do today. I did not share it. I should have done that. Yeah, Buford, give me. You can pick my brain over there. Mikey's Andre's still on about that. Eichhörnchen Stützstrumpf. Yeah, Stützstrumpf. Eichhörnchen Stützstrumpf. That's my German. Yeah, that's my German. Oh, there's a translation. See if it translates. All right. Paul, my favorite amp models for lead sound, I only use one, the 1987 X Plexi, and it is awesome. I hit that with it's lightly, here's it without the overdrive. I hit it with a Fractal boost. So without that, it's... got tone. And then I just turn on the boost, the Fractal boost. And there's my lead sound. Did I play with Billy Squier back in the late 80s? No, I played with Billy Squier in 1991. I toured with Billy Squier in 1991. I had a great time. It was a rock tour. It was my first real rock tour, and it was a rock and roll tour. I had a great time. Billy had some amazing guitars. I wish I was into vintage guitars back then, but he brought some amazing guitars on the road. All right. Yeah, I'll see you guys next time. All right. I'm going to call it a day. So let's see. I'm going to put my guitar down. Gonna grab my alternate hat. That's my alternate hat. Put my alternate hat on. Mute that. I want to see the stream where we are so I can make sure add on. Okay. It is time to take my boots off. Grab your slippers. Do the hand sanitizer thing. And I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you, a night. Call it a day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Fractal. Thank you, Stephanie and Steven. And